So I can tell that, okay, of all of this, overhead would be 300,000 francs. I'll be left with 700,000 francs. Okay, the greenhouse costed me 1 million. So I say, okay, maybe by the second production now, I've already made up the return on the investment. The remainder of the years, I'm making a profit.
Yeah.
You get me? So now that becomes interesting. It's the same thing as real estate, based real estate, because okay, I will put 20 units here, I will allow each unit for 100,000 francs. But if we can do that in agriculture, then we win. So it's only greenhouse farming that can give you that. And greenhouse farming, people don't understand, it is in everything. You go to the Western world, they do fish ponds in greenhouses. The way you can grow shrimps, you put them, they call them green ponds. It's all about creating a perfect environment. You know, my philosophy in agriculture is humanizing agriculture. I like to treat plants the same way I treat humans. It's very important. And that is another secret that I will share on your platform today. You cannot treat plants as if they don't matter, no? Because there was this actually saying that maybe we are in this world fed by plants to be consumed by plants. We think that we are actually growing the plants to consume. No, maybe the plants are actually feeding us so they can have something to eat. You get me? We have to look at that. I treat plants the same way I treat humans. They communicate, they get sick, they are thirsty, they need sunlight, they need to sleep, they need all of those things. They communicate very well. So you have to learn that art of communication with plants. So I understood that once you are able to humanize plants, you treat them the same way you treat humans, you get the very best results. So if you are able to understand that, okay, if you come to my farm, my farmers will tell you, I price them per plant. I don't just say, oh, this greenhouse has 250 plants. No. You give me a report on every crop in that greenhouse. It's like you, if you're a teacher and you get into a classroom, you know you have 200 students. You account for 200 students. You don't just account and say, no, you don't account for class 5. You account for the students in class 5. That's what I'm talking about. So if you have 250 plants in a greenhouse, you account for those 250 plants. You give me a report on each plant. Because when you're harvesting every plant. The way they give you reports in the farm is that, okay, every line, this line has 10 plants. You give me the report. How many did you harvest per plant, the average? I get those reports. That's how you can monetize it. That's what you call digital agriculture. Now I can install an app system that tells me that everything can be digitalized. And the Western world has achieved agriculture because they're able to digitalize agriculture. So unless we get to that point, and the bedrock of digitalized agriculture starts with the greenhouse. Because it's only in the greenhouse that you can set up a system that can be controlled, that could be monitored, that could be evaluated, that could be digitalized. So greenhouse farming has a long way to go. You cannot ignore it. And the last thing to tell you is that Cameroon is the only country in Africa that has greenhouses that was introduced by the private sector. It is a technology that only the government introduces, which is why I believe that one reason it has been very effective, and the other reason taking a little longer than people would expect. But believe me, many countries have tried doing it, especially when the government brings it in. It fails in many ways. Do you know that the first greenhouse in Cameroon was brought in 1995?
Oh.
It was a glass house. And do you know how much it costed, my brother? 500 million.
Wow. That's a lot.
It is sitting somewhere now. They are doing plantain multiplication in it. So all of a sudden, when I came with greenhouses and I spoke to government, they said, "Mofis, pardon, la fela no less element. You don't want to try that topic. It's the government. Nobody wants to hear that topic." But I told them that no, I'm not bringing what you guys brought in. I'm bringing cost-effective, climate-smart greenhouses. Greenhouses that could be adapted to any environment. I built greenhouses in Maroa, built in Garoua, I built in 8 of the 10 regions. So I've made it adaptable in every environment. And which is what makes what we have better. Because if you go to China today to import a greenhouse, China gives you a one-size-fits-all. Cameroon is the only country in Africa that has about 4 ecological zones. You get me? Mm-hmm. So what works in Maroa may not work in Yaoundé. What works in Yaoundé may not work in Douala. What works in Douala may not work in Bamenda. You have to adapt. You have to customize. That again goes to the aspect of flexibility. Create something that's flexible. Create something adaptable to every environment. And that's why today we are still standing and I can be on a podcast with you and we can talk. This much talk that we're having.
For sure. No, That's great. That's great. I think that's really, really promising technology. I hope that more and more people are able to adopt that for the level of efficiency and of course productivity that you talk about. I think it's really interesting. So looking at you mentioned you're producing in 8 of the 10 regions, so that means there's like very significant production. I know you're able to push out your produce through a network of supermarkets, across different regions.